It is 2:40 p.m. I'm Hopeton Hay, Executive Director of the Office of Hub Programs for the University of Texas System, and I would like to welcome you to Session 2, How to Make Hub Certification Work for Your Business. Just to give you a little bit about the format, after we read the biographies, and I'll give a little bit of opening of some things happening at the University of Texas System. We'll have a Q&A with our panel. That should last about 30 minutes, so we should go to about roughly 3:10 p.m. And then at 3:10 p.m., we're going to open it up for questions and answers from the audience. Each of our panelists do have QR codes with their contact information in the main room, so if you go into the main room where they held lunch, you can go and scan the QR codes for each of our panelists. So, starting to my far right on our panel today is David Carter. He is the Chief Procurement Officer for the City of Round Rock. The city is a two-time recipient of the Achievement of Excellence in Procurement Award from the National Procurement Institute, which is the national program to benchmark organizational excellence in procurement. He currently serves as the membership chair of the Texas Public Purchasing Association and is a lifelong public servant of more than 30 years. Prior to his arrival at the city, he served at the Office of the Attorney General and most recently at the Texas Water Development Board, where he led multiple procurement and historically utilized business endeavors. David Carter, let's give him a hand. And next to David is Jill Shackelford. She is the founder and current president of the Association of Women and Minority Contractors of Texas, a nonprofit dedicated to educating and promoting business development for women and minorities. She also founded Industrial Asphalt, Inc. in 1995. She has taken her experience from owning and operating an asphalt and mining company and is passionate about consulting in all realms of the industry to substantiate her belief that the industry and the environment are not mutually exclusive endeavors. Industrial Asphalt was acquired in August 2011 by Summit Materials, and Jill is currently active with the Market Outlook panel of the National Sandstone and Gravel Association and the Trail Foundation. Let's give Jill a hand. And for those baseball fans in the room, batting cleanup is Linda Rogers. She transitioned into her new role as the statewide historically underutilized business program manager with the Comptroller of Public Accounts in July of 2023. She has over 10 years of hub experience in the public and private sectors. Ms. Rogers graduated from Texas State University with 2 degrees, a Master's of Science in Interdisciplinary Studies with a focus in Organization, Workforce, and Leadership Studies, and a Bachelor of Business Administration with a concentration in Entrepreneurial Studies. She also holds the Certified Texas Contract Developer as well as the Certified Texas Contract Manager certifications. Let's give Linda a hand. So what's great about this panel is we have different perspectives, which I think are all important to the success of your business. So we have a procurement officer with 30 years of experience in procurement. We have the entrepreneur who really knows what it's like to be, if I may say, in the grind of being an entrepreneur. And it is tough and also very rewarding. And then we have the Hub program with Linda Rogers to give you a perspective on how these special initiatives could help you succeed as a small business, as a minority-owned business, as a woman-owned business, as a service-disabled veteran-owned business. So really gonna encourage you to take full advantage of their experience and expertise. So I'm gonna ask a couple of questions from the audience before we get fully started here. How many of you are Hub certified with the state of Texas? Raise your hand. Let's give. How many of you want to learn more about what it is to be Hub certified? Raise your hand. There we go. So we're certainly gonna have, Linda actually is gonna end up being our leadoff hitter. So how many of you are in construction? Raise your hand. All right, so I have to do a commercial for the University of Texas System. Is that okay? No, are there any Aggies that oppose this? I'm just joking, I'm from Louisiana, so it really doesn't make a difference to me. So the University of Texas system is managing an incredible project here. It's called the UT Joint Medical Center Project. The Irwin Center is no longer here. Did y'all know that? They are building 2 hospitals on that site. A hospital for the Dell Medical School at the University of Texas at Austin, and a hospital for the MD Anderson Cancer Center. 2 hospitals. The total project cost is $2.9 billion. The construction cost limitation, the actual estimated cost to build these 2 hospitals on this one site is $1.75 billion. The goal on this project for hub participation is 21.1%. So what does that mean to you practically? Our goal on this project is to spend more than $350 million on this project with hub firms. So that's the project that we literally just got started, and we're doing some unique things. It's actually being managed by the University of Texas system. My office is managing the hub requirements on it. So we've done a couple of things because we know that we want to really be successful in this particular marketplace because there's so much work going on. You have so many options to choose from, right? You got Tesla, you got Samsung, you got Travis County, you got the city of Austin, we got Austin Independent School District, a lot of different areas where you should look at in terms of making a decision, because I'm a big believer as a hub firm, you gotta make the decision that's in your best interest. So we have a hub coordinator that we've hired to work on this project. It's the only project he will work on, 1 hub coordinator for this project. We are putting together a special hub contractor guide, a guide to help you understand how to pursue that work, a specific guide for this specific project. And we're gonna do a lot of training and technical assistance to try to help you to succeed, to pursue these opportunities. So we're gonna do a lot to encourage success, but always understand, having been in this business 36 years, my goal is how can we help hubs be successful, whether you're working on our work or A&M work or Texas State University work or City of Austin work or Travis County work. So really, ultimately, with the hub, people like Linda Rogers, myself and others, we're here because we want to see you be successful. And we know we need you to work on our projects. That's why I'm so glad Jill is on the panel here. So that's my commercial. I think, did I take up too much time on that commercial? Was that a good commercial? $350 million of opportunity? Pretty good commercial. All right. So we're going to start off with Linda Rogers. So Linda, talk a little bit about what is hub certification and why should they get hub certified?
Sure. So hub certification, can you hear me? Start it off. Hello? Can you hear me now? Okay. Bad microphone. Okay. So hub certification is a state of Texas certification. It is free in cost of dollars. However, it is a pretty long certification, meaning the application process. Basically, it's all online. It's streamlined. However, it's going to require some time and some energy. You do need to make sure that you are either 51% or more minority-owned, woman-owned, or service-disabled veteran. The veteran status, you have to be at least 20% disabled. If you meet that criteria, initially, check 1. After that, there's some other parts of it that you want to make sure that you do qualify for. So not only must you own the business, if you have partners, if you have other entities, maybe affiliates that are associated with that business, all of that information is going to be collected in your application. So we are looking for small businesses to certify. Small business is according to your size standard for the SBA. So we're going to look at your employees. We're going to look at your financial records, your tax information. We're not going to use that information in any other fashion just to determine if you're a small business. So small business, minority, woman, or service-disabled owner. Then you also must reside in Texas. It's a Texas certification. So you must be a resident of Texas for at least a year. If you just moved here, keep working. You'll be here in no time. So it does need to be 1 year though. So if you just moved here, you got 6 months more, go ahead and start working on your application, your documentation, but know that you can't actually start the process yet. You also need to be a US citizen, and you need to make sure that you do the day-to-day business. So not only are you the CEO or the president, you're the sole owner, whatever that highest title is, you're doing that business nature every day. So you're having a hand in that business, whether it's a business of 1 or a business of 15, right? You have the sole discretion to say, this is the area that we're gonna go in. You're in charge of that. So that's pretty much the basis on how to get certified. So it's not a whole lot. However, we are gonna require documentation just to prove that. So we're gonna look at stock ledgers. We're gonna look at business information like meeting minutes. We're gonna look at lease agreements, your driver's license, all of that information just to verify that you are eligible.
You know, it's an interesting topic and an exciting thing.
All right. I'm glad they like it. So that's the initial criteria to be certified. Now, there's a couple routes that you can actually go to become certified. So there's one with the Comptroller's office. We're the statewide hub program, meaning we do certify. Not only are we gonna certify, we're gonna review your information, we're gonna audit, we're gonna go out to your business, and we're gonna make sure you are, in fact, the majority owner. You are, in fact, doing the business operation. So we will come and verify that information. We will also do recertifications. Recertifications are good, depending on where you get them. So the initial certification is good for 4 years if you come through the Comptroller's office. We have a lot of residents in Texas that want to be certified. So we can't do it alone. We have partnering entities that we use to also certify. So there's 11 other entities that can certify you. So they're in different parts of Texas. They're Chamber of Commerce, they're minority groups, they're just a various collection of entities that can also help. They may also be able to help you be certified as a DBE or an MBE, other things that you might be interested in. The one caveat is they may charge you, not for the hub certification, but they may charge you for those other certifications. So that's really the difference. Their certifications may last 1 year to 4 years. It's the same process, it's just the certification time period may not be the same. If you would like to come to the Comptroller's office, you're more than welcome to do so. It's all done online. However, we are inundated with applications, which is a good problem. However, there is a backlog. So that's why we're encouraging you to seek out our other partnering entities. If you are able to, work with one of those, by all means, you can definitely certify.
Jill, you have that experience. What do you want to share with the people here who are thinking, should I get hub certified? Is it worth the investment of my time? What would you say to them, Jill?
Thank you. Can y'all hear me? Oh, I appreciate your time. I'm honored to be up here on this panel. And yes, I had hub certification for probably close to 20 years back in the day when I was first certified. And I was telling Linda, the program is awesome if you know how to use it. And so it's really important to be proactive. And one of the easiest things to do is just on their website, it's the daily state bid. You type in your keyword and it's gonna pop up every purchasing agency in the state of Texas and what they're doing. If there's something you can awarded, posted, pending, it's so helpful. I encourage you. And so, from a personal experience, I'm a big fan of the certifications. I was in the asphalt and mining business, not your typical industry for a woman at the time. And I'd been to Texas Tech, and I remember them telling me if I got my woman-owned business certification, it might be handy with governmental contracts, and that stuck in my brain for some reason. And so I got the asphalt industry with my family's business, and I got bored about day 2. And so I left and went and decided I was gonna go in the manufacturing business, and I opened an asphalt plant, and I got my hub certification in my woman-owned business, and I just started bidding things. I really didn't know what I was doing at the time, but the office is so helpful. You can call them up and, they're just resourceful. And so as we get it more into the panel today, I'll just tell you from a personal experience, I don't think I would have been near as successful as I was without those certifications. And it wasn't just because I had the certification, it was my ability to perform the work and be reliable for the entities that are purchasing or prime contractors, et cetera. And so we'll get more into that. But I really encourage you, if you haven't gotten certified, please consider it. It's such a great program. And my nonprofit that I formed, actually, we help people prepare to get certified because the paperwork can be a little bit overwhelming. And so we try to just make it simple for you. You still submit your own application and do all that, but we're just here as a support.
I'm going to do a quick follow-up with you, Jill.
Okay.
Talk about the importance of your association.
Thanks.
The importance of your association.
Yes. You want to talk about that now?
Yeah.
I lost my mic. Hang on. These mics have a mind of their own here. Okay, so my association, so after I was certified for many years, I sold my company, which immediately pushed me over the threshold to graduate from the program. And I'm a big proponent of, if you get to that point, you're in a really good position, so don't be afraid to graduate the program. I could not figure out what I was going to do after I sold my company. I sat on some boards, and I was doing some expert witness testimony, and I was helping a concrete company who I quickly realized he was a complete expert at his trade of installing concrete, but he had no idea bonding, insurance, managing his certification. And so a friend of mine I was working with, we formed this nonprofit just to help people. We don't even advertise really. We have a website, but it's all referral to just help you with your certification issues, if you have any, or preparing a certification, or your renewal. And then we have a host of resources. You know, we help you connect with insurance, bonding, banking, lending, anything that you might do. In particular, we see a lot of, oh my gosh, I'm getting noticed for sales tax audit. We do a lot of sales tax stuff because it's pretty confusing, some of the way it's coded out, I guess. So anyway, that's our association, and we just love helping people and telling our story, how we got there, and what we've done, and how to work with these agencies.
I'm going to try to project here, but David, now I'm going to give you two questions. So David has worked both for the state and for the city of Round Rock, and it's very, very important because there are a lot of local opportunities that might be the best fit for you, and it's great to have the Chief Procurement Officer that's available here from the city of Round Rock. So can you talk a little about, A, do you have a hub certification program, and B, how to best pursue procurement opportunities specifically that the city of Round Rock has?
So, number one, thank you everyone for having me here today. And I would tell you what you've heard from your first two panelists are really on point. That hub certification for the state of Texas is a major driver for state agency contracts. All state agencies follow the same rules, but what a lot of people don't realize is that in local procurement, so you're talking about cities, counties, school districts for the whole, we have hub requirements we have to follow as well. We rely on the Comptroller's office and that hub program and the registration of hubs to make sure that we are getting solicitations out to a hub audience, so there is a good opportunity for your companies to bid on the opportunities that we have. What I would tell you is here in Williamson County, using our city as an example, but you've got Hutto, you've got Taylor, you've got Cedar Park, Leander, Georgetown, Williamson County. We're all very similar in the way that we do our procurement. We all have very similar systems in the way that we do procurement as well. Engagement is a really easy thing for you to do. It's all out there. If you go back and look at the QR code and you find our City of Round Rock QR code and look us up, we have a purchasing email address. If you reach out to that purchasing email address, we are going to engage with you and answer any questions that you may have about what we do. But back on that hub part of it that we're talking about and getting registered as a hub, and there's also a certified master bidders list. I'm not going to get into what that is, but that's also maintained by the Comptroller's office. That is a major driver for us on how our bid opportunities are announced to the appropriate audiences throughout the state of Texas and even beyond the state of Texas. But within that, we have a system that's called Bonfire, and a lot of cities and counties use Bonfire. It's similar in the nature of the way that it's designed. There are others that use one that is called Ion Wave. If you get on city and county and ISD websites, you will find registration opportunities for these systems to get solicitations delivered to you based on what your company does. And in doing that, you can submit on our bids that you're interested in bidding on, and it comes at no cost to you. It's all electronic. You don't have to produce any paper requirements. You don't have to deliver CDs or discs or anything to us anymore. It's all digitally performed and all maintained digitally online. If you have questions and answers that you want to engage in with us as part of a solicitation, that's all answered online as well. Your vendor competitors, it's the same thing. You get to see what's going on in a fully transparent method. Point being, getting back to that hub opportunity part of it, cities and counties and school districts do it very much the same way as the state of Texas, and it is much more engageable than I think most people realize, and we're eager to hear from you.
I think one of the important things to keep in mind as state agencies or city agencies, we need you. We need businesses that are willing to provide the products or services that we need. So we look at this really, this is a mutually beneficial relationship. We're spending $2 billion to build hospitals. We got Tesla, we have Samsung. So we actually are competing to get the attention of firms like yours. So, of course, one of the things I'll say is there's no better project owner you can work for than the University of Texas system. And that's on tape. But I'm going to ask, how many of the people in the audience, how many of you have been in business at least 1 year? Raise your hand. At least 2 years. Keep your hand up. At least 3 years. 4 years. 5 years. All right. So, Jill, I'm going to go to you.
Something I would have
As a
wrote.
very successful and experienced entrepreneur, what were the lessons you learned that you wish you knew when you first started your business, when your business was young? Now, I know you could go a whole hour, but what would you share with our audience here of maybe 2 or 3 of the key lessons you've learned that's important for them to know as they try to scale up their business, grow their business?
Oh, that's a great point. Oh, boy. Okay, so looking back now, I would say there's 3 things that stick out to me that I wish I would have known then that I know now or even knew later in my career. And one was utilizing the relationships of, if you have your certification, utilizing the agencies and their support, the procurement officers, the relationships, letting them know what you do and not being afraid to just, if you've never even gotten one job before, go tell them I can do concrete or whatever you're doing, and just being really proactive with the agencies. The second thing was the fear factor. Like I told you, I joined my family's paving business. I'd grown up around that my whole life, but I got bored day 2, so I left, and I had no idea what I was doing to make asphalt. And so what I was telling you guys earlier, one of my mottos now is just do it afraid, because you can figure it out. I had to figure it out. I had to figure out how to bid. I had to, first I had to figure out how to get a loan when I just got out of college. There's all these factors, but you can do it, and there's so many resources. And so one of my biggest selling points to our members of our association is just do it afraid. And there's always someone that's been there, and they can mentor you. We'll talk probably about that. And I love mentoring people and letting them know, because they're scared to death of their website. I'm like, it's the best, but I used it for 20 years. I knew how to navigate it. So do it afraid. And then the third thing that's really important as you grow and scale your business is not to grow too fast. I've seen great companies that scaled too quickly, and they didn't realize that, I hired a young woman on payroll, she makes $1,000 a week. Well, no, she really makes $1,500 because you're having to match her taxes, and you're paying her fuel, and it's the incidental cost. And so, that was a 50% increase right there that they didn't account for. And so you can get yourself in trouble if you grow too fast. But if you've got a great team and resources from all these agencies or nonprofits that are available, you can scale it at the right speed, and with the amount of work in the state, you can do extremely well. So, third one was just don't grow too quickly.
Very good. So, Linda, hub certification, what are the common mistakes that are made when people apply for hub certification? Because we
Over
want
time,
everyone in
able to
this
build.
audience, A, to apply for hub
Those are the things-
certification, but B, get it right the first time
But
so we
then,
can get you
just from a
certified.
business perspective, I think we're very
Yes.
similar to Keith.
First, not being prepared.
Don't use it with our
You
customer
want to
data.
check our website.
We are
We
using
have
it from
checklists available
a
for
marketing
your
perspective,
documentation that is needed.
I've been-
It's by business structure. So if you
So,
don't know
a
what
lot of
business structure you have,
here are
start
using it
there.
for, so-
If you're a sole proprietor,
But it-
you don't need as many documents.
to them earlier,
Corporation,
probably the
you're going to
biggest
need some
thing-
more documents.
Maybe I'm just
So
way
making
behind
sure
the
that you have that intact before you
biggest
start your application,
has been a-
wherever you start it, Once you start it, you have a certain timeline to finish it. So you have about 90 days once you start it to finish it. You can keep extending it. However, you want to make sure that it's submitted. After it's submitted, if it's being reviewed, they may come back and ask you questions about your tax return or provide this document. If your email changes, we do not know that. So please make sure to check your status. You can do it online. You can call us. You can email us. However, you need to get a hold of us. Again, the QR code, contact us. You have questions, we're here as a resource for you. We're not looking to fail you. We're not looking to pass you by, right? We're not trying to increase our numbers. Oh, check, we got another hub certification. No, we're doing our due diligence to make sure those companies that are applicable, they are eligible, they are ready, they are qualified, they're gonna be certified. And they're gonna go out there and they're gonna be able to hopefully get some new work. We want to engage your, I don't know how to say it, your mentoring skills, I guess. We want you to contact us because we have a lot of resources. So if you don't know what your stock ledger should look like, you don't know what your meeting minutes should look like, we're gonna point you into those areas that can give you those resources. So if you see something on there and it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do this, don't just stop. Definitely reach out, ask us questions. When you are doing the application, I do just want one important caveat. For those of you that know the difference between Hub Zone, which is a federal program, it is a set-aside. It means you should be granted a contract versus a state of Texas hub certification is not a set-aside program. It is a marketing tool. You're marketing your business as a hub to try to gain more business. So you're not guaranteed a contract. It is paperwork. It is something to display. It is something to showcase, but you still have to go out. You have to seek connections. You have to go after the procurements. You have to know where to look. You have to come to these events. You have to shake hands. You have to follow up. You got to make emails. So I highly recommend just ask questions, right? You're not sure? Ask somebody. It may take us a little while to get to your application, but we will review it and we will work with you as best as we can.
So you may think, we have these hub programs, it's not a set aside. Does the state really do a lot of business with hub firms? I could talk about the University of Texas system, and I think last fiscal year, ending August 31st, 2023, across system, we spent over $700 million with historically underutilized businesses. That's the 13 UT institutions. We just added Stephen F. Austin in the new fiscal year, and UT System Administration, over $700 million. Now, how many of you been in sales before? Raise your hand. All right, how many of you close everybody you call on? Raise your hand. What's the true percentage? When I worked for Procter & Gamble, they told me when I went to work for them, June of 1984 in Houston, Texas, that's how I ended up in Houston, they said, Hopeton, you need to close 3 out of 10. I was selling the restaurants, food service, and lodging division in Houston, Texas. They said, close 3 out of 10. I closed 1.5 out of 10. Now I'm a hub coordinator. So, David, what advice would you give to people that want to bid successfully on City of Round Rock opportunities?
So what I would tell all of you is this: engagement matters, okay? And I'll say this for the City of Round Rock, but I think I can safely say this for any of the cities, counties, and school districts around here, being very similar in what they do. You need to be on our website. You need to communicate with our team. If you're interested in doing business with government, we are a good place for you to come to regardless of what that entity is. I have a lot of institutional knowledge personally of how states and locals work, and we can help drive you to the resources that you need. Again, we use a system that's called Bonfire. It is pretty transparent when we put out formal bids how the process works. It is, we believe, the benchmark system that is used nationally now. It's growing into a standardized system. It is a process. You go through it. It asks you questions. You won't be able to miss a step in the process. Historically, in the past, when paper bids were received on a lot of things, it would be easy for a company to miss a step or forget to sign a form. Our system now is bulletproof. You will get through the process. It will not allow you to submit your final product until you've checked all the check marks that you need to get done. Bottom line beyond that is there are a lot of resources online where you can just find historical information. If you're interested in what we do at the City of Round Rock because you have a particular service or good that you want to provide to us, we have open records where you can do an open records request through the City of Round Rock. It's available on our website, and ask for information about historical bids. If you want to see previous bids that have been submitted, how they were submitted, how they were worded, educate yourself. In my time working for the state of Texas, and of course now working for the City of Round Rock, we encouraged vendors that bid on our opportunities that did not get the bids to come in and get debriefing sessions with us to help them understand why they may not have won. They may have submitted a very good bid to us. They just got beaten by something that was slightly better. Educating yourself through the process over and over again will help sharpen your saw. There's no question about that. And again, it's a competitive world, but I think you might be surprised. Just get engaged. Be persistent and advocate for your companies and what you're doing. Get to know us. We want to know who you are. And honestly, again, I mentioned the fact that the HUB program and the CMBL process, you
So I would
do
say
need to get
from the-
registered through that.
From a payroll
We
and
have
HR
ghosts
tech
in the room. I
perspective,
love this.
one of the biggest things that we're
But
seeing
through that
more and more
process, if you
adoption
get to
from,
know who we
and,
are,
you know,
ask
some
us
people have been
questions
using it for years
through
and
our
years and years,
purchasing
but,
email address that we
really
have,
getting more into
or if you look
employee
me up,
self-service and being
I
able to
apologize for
have
the overflow,
a,
but my name is again
strong
David
mobile app
Carter.
that,
If you look up
allows
David
folks to be
Carter,
on the go,
Round
doing the
Rock,
things that they're
LinkedIn,
doing,
you're going to find
but
me.
still be able to access
Connect
the
with me
data and
on
understand
LinkedIn.
the
Ask me
data
questions.
and that are being made in the
Can you hear me?
development are
Okay,
being
I'll try to
made,
talk loud
you know,
so
from an
we
employee-centric
get the information.
perspective.
Thank
You
you
know,
for the
not just
question.
about
It was a
the
great
numbers and
question.
the taxes,
So
but,
to
you know, what's the
recap for
employee
everyone that
experience like? How
may have not
easy is
heard the
this gonna be
question,
for them to
the first
adopt?
part of the
So
question from what I
looking at those
understood
kind of
was
things,
your certification. How can
makes
it
a
work for
difference
me,
in being
right?
able
Being
to,
HUB
you know,
certified, what does that
kinda
mean?
create a culture
Again,
and an
it's a
environment
marketing
that you
tool.
want for your
It's not a granted you're going to get a contract. However, the state of Texas does have HUB goals associated with specific procurements. There are categories that we have established HUB goals. Now, within the state of Texas, there are about 200 entities, meaning state agencies, the CPA being one, universities like UT would be included in that. So there's about 200 of those. They can have their own HUB goals depending on what it is that they're procuring. They may have different, but they all have goals. So you want to make sure you're going to target those particular areas. If you're in construction, you probably want to focus on the construction areas. Not necessarily if you're selling paper, you may not look at the construction opportunities. So you're going to want to look at the HUB goal and see, oh, this might be something that's applicable. So you might be asking yourself, what are those categories? We have heavy construction, which is pretty heavy construction lifting, meaning highways, not necessarily buildings. So that's mainly with like TxDOT, Texas Department of Transportation. Then we also have building construction, so that's general construction. And then we have specialized construction. So 3 goals associated with construction. They all have their own individual goal. The highest goal is 32.9, which is specialized construction. So those are special licensing, so like HVAC license, plumbers, things like that. Those can be affiliated with that. Now, if you're not in construction, we also have goals for those as well. We have commodities, we have all other services, which is kind of a catch-all, and then we also have professional services. So those are the general areas where the HUB goals are applicable. So again, all of those 200 entities will have their own goals, or they adopt our own at the statewide. That doesn't count all of the local, all of the counties. They may have different goals, but they still recognize the program. So it flows down. So don't think it's just 200 opportunities for 2 different either agencies or universities. So that's question 1. Question 2, you talked about stacking the certifications, whether it be a minority, woman, or service disabled. It is one certification. it includes one of those. Meaning, if you're a woman-owned business that is also service disabled, you will be registered as a woman-owned hub program. So it goes because it's based on a 2009 disparity study. So it's gonna go on ethnicity first, woman next, and then service disabled. So the service disabled was actually added on, so each of those are identified separately. So it would just be one certification, hub certification, but you can get it in any of those. You might be asking, how do I find where the hubs are? The hub database, if you will, is listed on our website. It's associated with the CMBL, Centralized Master Bidders List. If you scan our QR code, it'll take you right there. So that is the list of the master hubs that are certified. Just because you're certified right now doesn't mean we will continue that certification. Whether you graduate or you're audited, you don't renew. So that information is updated regularly.
We got a question here next, and then you. Yes, your question.
We'll see if this it still works. Amazing. There are opportunities. It just depends on the community when it comes down to it. Certainly, the city of Round Rock has healthcare providing opportunities. We have our own local clinic that is bid out every so often as well. There are subcontracting opportunities as well through a lot of these things, and I think that's something that y'all need to be aware of as well. Is subcontracting is a huge part of the program and the business in the state of Texas. When she's talking about all the hub reporting requirements, I mean, it is a massive, massive initiative of the legislature. And the reporting, I mean, it is, every agency lives and thrives by hubs. So all of you that are interested in this program, believe me, the state of Texas takes it very seriously, as does local government as well. So yes, to your point, those opportunities are present and available out there. And again, I would tell you through these local systems like Bonfire that I mentioned, you will find from community to community as you get interconnected through those systems, you'll find those opportunities come available to you.
And let me add real quick that the state reports expenditures by object codes, and the object codes are actually defined. So you can go and look at the object code, see what object code is for your particular product or service. Then you can look at each institution, or you can look under each object code and see who's buying what. The beauty of the state program is it's transparent.
I think in our world, there's
all the money
things. So,
that's
first of
spent
all,
in each
from a
of these
software
object codes is
perspective,
reported by
there
every
are a lot of things that
state
these providers are doing,
agency. Once
and
again,
so
go to her
when you look at
QR
it
code,
purely from a software
pull up the
perspective,
report.
there's
You can look
things
at the
where they
UT
do
system
encryption,
report.
how
You
the
can look at the
data's
MD
hosted,
Anderson
all those
Cancer
kind of
report.
things.
You can look at the Texas
I'm gonna
Department of
set all that aside
Transportation
and
report.
talk more
So it's
about what you as a
transparent, and you
business owner
can
do, because some of these
analyze
things
it
you
and
can
say, is it
affect,
worth my
you know,
time?
it
You can
doesn't
actually
matter
do
which
that. Do
system
they
you're
buy
using,
what I
there are
have to
things
sell?
that you can
Then the
do.
second
So
question you have to
first
ask
thing
is,
you
when
know,
will
Katie
it
really
be
hit on it is,
available again?
multi-factor
Is it on a
authentication.
3-year
If you're not
contract,
using
5-year
that, you
contract,
should be
so on and
using it,
so forth?
and
So
you
I know
should
we
be
don't have a
using
lot
it
of time,
everywhere.
so I'm going to sort of jump over to this
Our
gentleman
clients
and
use
then
it,
this young lady here.
and the way
Yes,
it's
sir.
set up, you know, I
Depends
mentioned
on where
earlier about
you
employee
certify
self-service and
through.
how important that is. One of the
So
really
the
big
information's
factors
going to be the
of
same.
employee
You just may
self-service
have
is
some
the
of those
ability to update
documents
your
on
own
file
information.
already
So you
if
can
you
change
went
your address,
through
you
the
can change
system.
your bank account,
So
things
with
like
our
that.
automatic
And why that's
renewals, we're
extremely
sending them out
important is
6 months in
we're
advance. So you
seeing
should get an automatic
literally
reminder 6 months. Go ahead and
5,
start
6,
working
7,
on it.
8, 10 times
I'm
a
gathering
week
those
we
documents.
hear from
Definitely
clients
get you in line.
where they have gotten emails from employees.
So HUB
of
stands for
having somebody
historically
with access to their
underutilized
data
business,
through
meaning
data that
there
they
are a group of small companies that were shown to not be awarded contracts. It's based on a 2009 disparity study. So the program is to make it equal for all business owners to compete on the same level. So whether you're a small business, larger business, you should still be given that opportunity. So this is to encourage that all of those small businesses get a piece of that government pie, just trying to make it, worth your while and grow.